Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
Still buzzing from inbound.
Yeah.
I am Sam Littlefield. Welcome back to another edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. And with me is
Roop.
And we are back in the studio. And we are literally, the energy part of this is, I did have a Celsius this morning. And the reason, by the way, I never drink Celsius. I never drink this stuff, ever. I see you drink it almost every week.
It's in my cup right now.
It is in your cup right now?
Yeah, I brand, though, the show, so I have a Littlefield glass.
Okay. Oh, very nice. I brand Celsius.
You're looking for
I'd
sponsorships.
love a sponsorship. Anyway, we have a Celsius here because Jay Schwedelson, and we'll get to this here in a little bit, at Inbound last week, had three Celsius before he went live in his first session. The guy was on fire.
He probably meant 3 in the previous 15 minutes, but like he's high energy when he's presenting.
His energy was incredible. It was contagious.
He's one of the best.
We'll get to that in a little bit. So we're back fresh off the plane from Inbound.
We got back late Friday night.
You got back late Friday night.
I did.
I got back at a nice time on Friday early afternoon.
We decompressed and just kind of mellowed Saturday, Sunday.
We saw our families, and now we're back at it. It
back.
feels good to be back in the office. Claudia and Brandon are I feel like just very strict and professional this morning.
They were upset with us before they started recording.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We can't have any fun conversation. Claudia's just glaring. Good Lord.
Well, some of it's not appropriate for the air.
Never.
Well,
Never. So,
depends.
anywho, what we'd like to do this week is we have no script because we've got an all hands on deck debrief meeting. Myself, Joy Holver is going to join us next week.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into all the ins and outs, give you a couple of glimpses this week. But we want to recap our week with you because it was an amazing Tuesday through Friday.
Yeah, kind of at a high level. We want to talk about what HubSpot announced for their services and their platform, which is pretty big. Every year we feel like
There's
it's big.
big freaking news.
This one's pretty big.
This is big news.
And then we'll go through some of the sessions that we did attend, but we'll go into depth on them and kind of like explore some of the better points, and we've been able to decompress it next week with Joy.
No,
Is
that's
that
perfect.
the thought? Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds good. So we're going to walk you. We landed on Tuesday late afternoon. We went to the Bell in Hand Tavern. Fun fact, it is the oldest pub in the United States, located in the heart of Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no surprise here. Boston's a pretty old city, but
It was a cool bar.
We had a great lobster roll. We were with our clients, Adriana from Williams, Sean from Ditch Witch. They had actually talked on the phone before, but never met each other in person. It was a wonderful time just on that Tuesday evening. Really just kind of, setting the stage, getting ready, talking about the sessions that we were going to go to, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We got the lobster rolls and clam chowder out of the way that night.
Immediately.
Day one.
There was a lot of lobster in my system this last few days.
Yeah, a lot of something in your system.
Hit the sack early, and then day one, Wednesday of Inbound. The energy there was pretty awesome. I mean, you got a bunch of marketers that are just super savvy and very excited for the latest and greatest trends, technologies, et cetera.
So you hadn't been before. What did you make of the layout? Because it's a big place.
Here's the thing. I've been to tons of trade. It's a great question. I've been to tons of trade shows. I've been to tons of conferences. All the above. First off, the Boston Convention Center is insane. It's huge. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right in Seaport District. Very, very cool. You walk through security and you're on the main level, and then all of a sudden there's just massive glass, and there's a couple of escalators going down. You have the whole horizon, and it was unbelievable. Just the setup. There's lounge chairs, sofas everywhere, so you can take meetings. There's vendors when you first go down the escalator.
There were
so you've got
fortune tellers this year.
fortune tellers, technology vendors. All of these people were HubSpot integrated, which I thought was very cool. And then among this massive floor, there's pop-up stages everywhere. So you got a stage, you got the hero stage over here, you got the creator stage over here, then you go all the way to the back, which is the main stage.
Yeah.
And then you also have various second and third levels that you can go off into different conference rooms. One of the cooler, call it conference setups that I've ever seen, and just because it was so chill, relaxed, everyone's excited to be there, but everyone's also doing their own thing. Everyone's a marketer. There's a lot of people on client calls. There's a lot of people on calls in general. There's people that are, ingesting this wonderful content. And then you got people networking. So, I mean, it was a very cool experience from the get-go going down those escalators to the main stage on day one.
Yeah. And then you get to the main stage and
Which seats how many people probably? 5,000?
I got, by the way, the final number was 12,000.
That attended?
12,000 that attended.
Okay.
So there were probably, I would say, I don't know how many can fit in there, but at least half that, I would
Okay,
guess.
7,000.
Maybe 7,000,
6,000.
yeah. And so you get in there that first day, and they're giving you a kickoff, like all
It's the CEO, the founders of HubSpot,
the big wigs.
Yeah.
They come out and they're kind of like hyping you up for the week.
Think Bill Gates back in the 70s, 80s when he comes out and they're super pumped and
Yeah.
Or think about an Apple
Apple's
product
better.
demo.
They didn't do the weird dancing.
Yeah,
that
they
happened
there
to
was
Microsoft.
someone danced last year, but there was no dancing this year.
Yeah, but they knocked that out. But yeah, it's very similar.
Share the biggest news that they shared with us in that opening session.
Yeah, so HubSpot every year tries to announce new products and services at this, and generally we kind of know. Like last year, I knew AI was going to be a lot of it, and so they talked a lot about AI. AI was a big part of last year, along with the Marketing Hub. This year, they made some upgrades and improvements to the Marketing Hub, but the biggest thing they announced was they've rebranded their AI and really integrated it in I'm going to say modern way. It feels weird to say modern on AI. It's only like 2 years old.
No, seriously.
But like in a more useful modern way, and it's called Breeze, like as in this is a breeze to use.
This is a breeze to use. Whoever named it, kudos to them.
Yeah, we were sitting next to each other like that's a good name.
Naming projects are not easy. That is simple. It's intuitive, and it gets right to the point. It's in beta right now. Breeze is.
It is. I've turned it on for our clients and for us. So Claudia actually mentioned before you started recording that she started seeing some stuff pop up last week from the new Breeze tools. They're rolling it out in full, I believe, in the next 3 to 4 months. So there's kind of some.
It has to be by end of year.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: the way that they labeled the term agents, which is not a new term, but it's very and they showed the Matrix, right? Morpheus and them.
Yeah.
They called it "There's an agent for that," right? So one of my favorite lines from the opening session was AI creates and people curate.
Yeah.
And they want you to tap into these AI agents and think of them literally as like it's
employees.
Like, hey, Tom the agent, right?
Yeah.
His expertise is in X, Y, and Z. Obviously, you have to pay for said agents.
Yeah.
Really, really cool way to think about it instead of like a tool. It's like an actual person that happens to be a tool. The implications. Oh, not a bad tool, like a technology tool. Oh my God, I see where you. I walked right into that one.
Long week.
But really, really neat. Just conceptually and then execution wise, they showed a couple just quick use cases. Again, it's an hour and a half opening session, so they're just speeding through these pretty quickly. Pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah, and there was
neat.
Speaking of agents and AI. So agents are a AI tool that does one thing. Like it only does proofreading, or it only does research, or it only does analytic analysis, or whatever. I was in a different session later on, I think Friday maybe, about AI, and the guy talked about the same concept of agents and how they're important and all this, and that's kind of the future. Is you build this little agent army,
and which is really
almost like employees.
Absolutely.
He went as far as to say to encourage people to put personas against these agents, so that they have a little bit more personality and they feel like they have a little bit more oomph behind them.
By the way, this guy who is the founder of HubSpot, one of the co-founders, Dharmesh, has been building this for a year, and he's impressive, and he was so passionate about it. Had some great dad jokes along the way.
King of the dad jokes.
Good, just a good dude. Yeah. I really enjoyed his session. So we opened that, and then we broke out for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And you were in sessions, I'm in sessions. We kind of meet up for a quick, powwow, and then we're just beat bopping around different sessions. We started a Slack thread, myself, Joy, and Roop. But did you have any favorite day one sessions?
Yeah, the ones I went to on day one, right after kickoff, I attended a advanced LinkedIn ads for the B2B marketing superhero, which sounds like the most boring session you'd ever go to. But I did learn a few things there about some suggestions that LinkedIn makes for how you run and set up your ads that you kind of don't want to follow. Like there's ways that, like some hacks around how to get better reach and better results out of your LinkedIn ads. So I'm anxious to talk to our media team about those. I went to one about content's not king.
Neil Patel.
You were at that one.
I was at that one.
And Neil, I always feel like Neil's kind of a mixed bag. Like he's very self-promoting, like to the nth degree. But there's some nuggets of knowledge. Sorry,
Claudia doesn't know what nuggets
Claudia
are.
didn't get nuggets last week.
We just enlightened her last week. We're like, hey, Claude, there's some great nuggets here. And she's like, excuse me?
Yeah, I just thought you were talking about chicken.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Generational divide.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had some interesting stuff in that session that we'll break down a little bit more with.
Yeah, we'll
Joyce
go into
here.
detail. There's actually some very, very, very good stuff.
And then we saw each other over by Jay for his first session of the week. He had 3.
And that is, he had 3 sessions.
Jay Schwedelson,
He had 2 on that first day. The first one, we'll really get into detail next week because we took a ton of, I need to reach out for his slide deck.
He sent it to me.
That's when Jay, I've never met Jay in person, right? Just on Zoom and through LinkedIn. And he was on our podcast. And this guy, he's got a Celsius in his hand. He's just the energy, the excitement. That just gets me going, right?
Yeah.
Gave me the biggest hug. He's like, it's so good to see you. I'm ready to do this. Goes out there. He just totally crushes it. So we took a selfie with him and Joy after the fact, which is great. We'll probably use that as our header for this week. Don't you think?
Yeah, that might be a good one.
I think that'd be a good one. He killed it. It was some really good, just again, what I love about this conference, there's some great 30,000 foot, strategic initiatives and just, again, like Breeze. Then you've got the alternative, which is very tactical takeaways. Your LinkedIn example, Jay's email marketing session. The one in the afternoon, they called it an email teardown. It was Jay and this founder who lives up in Canada. I feel so, and I've got a story on this here in a second. They basically, for the last few months, have been scouring brands' emails and the worst ones that they found. And users could submit their worst emails too. Imagine like a Little Talks email up on the big screen. There were probably 5,000 at that session.
Yeah.
And they are just ripping these emails apart.
Yeah, they're pointing out the things that could be better, the things that were not good. They did point out some good things here and there.
They pointed out some good things. Then that was the guy from Canada. Very, very nice guy.
He was
and
very
Jay
nice.
like, dude, this is trash.
Yeah.
He was so just blatant and adamant.
He's hardcore.
But it was things like that, right? It's really good color, really good information. I saw someone later post on Jay's. It was like, it broke my heart when I saw, my email up there. But at the same time, I just so enjoyed your session. So people are in a good spirit there.
We were both sitting next to each other. Please none of ours. Please none of ours. Right?
God, actually. So great session like that. We had a big night on Wednesday night. So we wrapped the day.
Yeah, wrap the day.
Sean from Ditch Witch has a good friend, Matt.
Shout out to Matt.
Shout out to Matt. Matt's super cool guy. Is actually born and raised in Boston, so he knows the city really well. Well, Matt reached out a couple weeks ago and was like, hey, a little singer called Post Malone's at Fenway Park for one night on Wednesday, September 18th.
Ever heard
We
of
should
it?
all get tickets.
Yeah.
So we go beat bop around Boston, have a fabulous dinner, kind of a Mexican fusion, very, very good.
That's what we ate. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, you remember
Katie.
it? I forget the name of the place. It
was great.
It was incredible. And then we went over to Fenway, which I'd never been to Fenway before. Super, super cool experience. It was cloudy, chilly. God, it just felt
Weather
like
was
fall
perfect.
And good.
It was outdoor. The place was packed.
We had great
fireworks,
seats
great
ended up being
seats.
great.
Everything about it was
the
great.
fireworks were incredible. By the way, if you're not listening to Post Malone, I listen to Post Malone, but not religiously.
Yeah.
And Claude knows my love for Posty. I like his classic bangers. He's gotten into this new country scene, and you're like, okay, what's the split going to be?
I wasn't sure what I was going to feel about it, but I ended up liking like 3 or 4 of those songs.
Dude, I've got him on
Same.
repeat.
Same.
His ability, first off, one of the best vocalists I've ever heard in my life live. He's incredible.
Yeah, he was good.
Half the time, he's on his knees near the floor. It's like that's even hard to get those good, ab muscles working for great acoustics.
Yeah.
No, he was incredible.
Yeah, he did great.
And he would switch between country and pop, and his twang and his ability to do so. God, he's amazing. He brought the energy.
I don't want to judge Bostonians, but I kept thinking this is a whole crowd that's into a country album.
No, I love it. And they were
Fenway,
there
yeah.
for it. And as an adult, Claude, one day you'll appreciate this. What time did Posty come on?
He was prompt.
8:15.
8:15, no opener.
No way.
No opener. 8:15. We got into our seats at about 8:05.
Yeah.
Lights go down.
It was
he goes
efficient.
on. Never took a break.
Nope.
Played from 8:15 to 10:15 on the dot. Did one song encore, Sunflower, super cool. Awesome way to end it. Fireworks everywhere, and then see you later.
Adios.
Incredible.
Incredible.
And then we went to some Boston bars.
Yeah.
And it was
Boston-
fantastic.
And a Boston Taco Bell.
Had a chicken wing.
A chicken wing at Taco Bell?
No. We found a chicken wing.
That was just
That's
a
a story
random,
for another time.
random chicken
But we
wing.
had a great chicken wing. Anyway, bring us to day 2. Again, good, I'd say overall really good content.
Day 2, we spent some time with some folks talking about TikTok and how to find your next customer on TikTok.
I will tell you, there were 2 really good takeaways. One, if you're experimenting with content and you're trying out different things, Neil Patel actually said, and then I'll segue to TikTok. He was like, hey, try some different content ideas on X put $5 to $10 behind them. He's like, you'd be surprised at some of the engagement that you get. See what's working well, and then go and put it on, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And I was like, oh, that's actually great advice. This lady from TikTok, she was not from TikTok. She works for a financial solutions company, mortgage company.
Yeah.
And she basically during the pandemic was like, hey, I'm going to just start experimenting with things. I went back to her early posts, 600, 800, 1,000 views. How many posts did she have that were at 1 million and over?
Several.
Quite a bit.
Several. Turning
into a lead gen engine. She built a case for it in the C-suite. So it's kind of a good challenge, whether B2B or B2C, get in there, dive in. So just some good reminders there.
We shot a random video with her. She was with us in that circle thing later. There's like a photo op.
Yeah, her name's Dawn Dawson.
She happened to be there. Cool. Yeah, she was cool.
We connected on LinkedIn. So I had to catch. Go ahead.
Well, there's one other thing I was going to say. You're talking about a lot of these sessions being kind of technical in how they operate, and the name of this one completely misled me. It was called Alignment in the Age of AI, Rethinking Your GTM Structure. Now, at Littlefield Agency, when you say GTM, you're referring to Google Tag Manager. Yeah, Google Tag Manager, which Chris talks about and uses nonstop. So I'm like, I think I'm going to help Chris out and go see about rethinking his GTM structure.
And if you're saying Littlefield.
I'm in there about 5 minutes. I'm like, this has nothing to do with Google. It was for go-to-market. It was a salesperson. Yeah. So that was something. I still took notes.
Hey, but you learned a few things.
I learned a little bit, yeah.
So there's some things like that that you might, again, I'd say overall content was good. You've got some sessions you walk in, it may not be your cup of tea, but you still take something away, which I think is important.
End of day 2, Serena Williams came out and just kind of talked a little bit about being an entrepreneur, investing, and trusting instincts and stuff like that. David Spade was he that night? Yeah, he was. David Spade was that night. They have a comedian every year. Last year was John Mulaney. This year was Spade. He was funny. And the comedians always tailor their content to the event, which I'm super impressed with.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was good.
And then Friday, Joy and I had to catch an early flight to get home. You did get to see the keynote speaker, Mr. Ryan Reynolds.
Well, before that, I got to see Jay Schwedelson on the main stage,
which was cool. He looked pretty excited to be up there.
He went through his whole routine unfazed by not getting reaction, and at some point he made some reference to, I think, his weight or something. Everyone kind of clapped and laughed. He goes, "Oh, for that you're going to clap." That's pretty funny. Yeah, I saw Jay. He killed it again. We're so proud of him being on the main stage.
That's incredible.
Big accomplishment.
It's big time.
I went through how to do content marketing in the post-Google apocalypse, like how you're preparing your content really for AI more than Google.
Yeah.
Which was...
And we're going to dive into that next week. That's a big takeaway.
AI-first marketing with OpenAI, and it was just kind of cool to see OpenAI there speaking. And then the end of the day, right before I had a crazy journey home, Ryan Reynolds came out. He was the final speaker, the anchor speaker, and he talked a lot about owning an agency, trusting your instincts, doing stuff on shoestring budgets, and how money kind of is actually a constraint to creativity sometimes when you have unlimited resources. So he kind of prefers to work with less resources.
Ryan, call us, buddy.
I think most of us can kind of relate to that.
No, for sure.
Lack of resources forces greater creativity. So he was a good way to end it.
Is he as handsome as he looks? And
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Claude's over there nodding her head.
Maybe more so. Maybe more so.
So that's the treetop highlight. Next week, we're going to have Joy Holver on with us. She's a senior client engagement manager here at the agency. She joined us with her client, Williams. We're going to pick Joy's brain. We've got a full debrief schedule coming up for the three of us to just put all of our heads together. We'll share this with the agency, but excited to share this with you. A lot of really cool things. We'll dive into deeper next week.
You know what I think we should do?
What's that?
I'm just doing this live.
Yeah.
I think we have our debrief. Then each one of us picks our favorite session to talk to the audience about.
Without any prep?
Maybe a little prep. Without
telling each other what our favorite is?
Then the other topics will spread into future podcasts and kind of pepper them in.
Serialized content.
You
genius. Yeah. I love it. Well, Roop, it's good to be back with you. It's good to be in Tulsa. It is 72 degrees today. It is nice to have fall here on our second official day of fall. It's good to be back in the studio. Brandon and Claude, please just bear with us as we continue this inbound excitement and energy.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, thank you as always. We missed you. It's good to be back. We'll see you soon.
Adios.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media @Littlefield Agency.